Hello, my name is Andy Pollan from Adrian, Michigan. Thank you once again for having me to Omaha. My question is for Warren, but Charlie, please add your thoughts as well. Warren, I've heard you say many times that you don't understand technology and that you rely on Bill for that, and that's fine. And I see from this year's movie that you're learning, so that's good.
Slowly.
I'm also curious to hear what you've learned so far about the other information technology companies such as IBM, Sun Microsystems, Oracle, Dell, EMC, and Intel.
I know. What I've learned is I know enough not to know that I don't know enough to make an investment decision. Charlie and I have circles of competence that extend to evaluating a number of types of businesses. And there are a whole lot of businesses that we won't be able to evaluate. Some of them I think very few people can evaluate. I mean, you get outside of, you just get into businesses where the future is so likely to be different than the present that maybe there's a few people who have great insights on it, but we sure don't. We are best at the businesses where we can come to a judgment that they're going to look a good bit like they do now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now. They'll be bigger, they'll be doing different things, but the fundamentals will be the same. This car will be a bigger company 5 years from now, maybe a much bigger company, and we may get a chance to do interesting acquisitions. But what you saw there, the fundamentals won't change. The way the people think won't change. I can name a number of businesses that are bound to change dramatically. I mean, when you think of how much the telecom business, for example, has changed over the last 15 or 20 years, it's startling. Even with hindsight, it's a little hard to figure out, who was going to make all the money and so on. There's just games that are too tough. Charlie says, we've got 3 boxes at the company: in, out, and too hard. And a lot of things end up in the too hard pile, and it doesn't bother us. We don't have to be able to do everything well. If you go to the Olympics, if you can run the 100-meter well, you don't have to throw the shot put. Some other guy can throw the shot put and you'll still get a gold ribbon, if you run the 100-meter fast enough. So we try to stay within the circle of competence. Tom Watson Sr., I think it was Sr. Yeah, Tom Watson Sr. many years ago said, I'm no genius, but I'm smart in spots and I stay around those spots. Well, that was pretty damn smart, and we have found a lot of our managers who don't think, they can solve every problem in the world, but they run their businesses extraordinarily well. You do not want to, Frank Martin mentioned Forest River, you do not want to go and compete with Pete Legal in his business. He's going to kill you, and he's very, very, very good. But he doesn't come around and try and tell us how to run the insurance business because that's not his game. We look for people that are very good at things they understand, and we don't get any inferiority complex at all about the fact that you mentioned Intel, I believe. I was virtually there at the birth of Intel because I was on the board of Grinnell and Bob Noyce was the chairman of the board of Grinnell, and we bought $300,000 worth of their original debentures, and I knew Bob. I thought he was a very, very smart guy. But I wouldn't have had the faintest idea how to evaluate the future of Intel then. And I really don't have it now, And I think they probably had a few surprises themselves in the last few years with AMD and what's been happening in their business. But what that's going to look like in 5 years, I don't have any idea. And I'm not so sure if you're in the industry, you'd know exactly what it was going to look like in 5 years. Some businesses just are very, very hard to predict. Charlie?
Yeah, one of the foreign correspondents last year, after looking at us carefully, said in effect, you guys don't seem smart enough to do so much better than other people as you're doing.
Was he looking at me or you, Charlie?
Both. Have you got an explanation? And we said, we know the edge of our competency better than most people do. It's a very useful thing to know the edge of your competency. And I always say it's not a competency if you don't know the edge of it.
I'll have to think about that a little bit. Bill will explain it to me later. Area 7, please.